guys, today we are going to create another fall painting, and I'm going to use my number 3 grabby brush and a number 14 round brush from Master's Touch. Master's Touch you can just get at Hobby Lobby. So this is the whole set that my number 3 is from, and I may use a number 1, but I'll probably stick to those 3. And this is the palette that I'm going to use, also by Grabby. This palette has all of the regular sort of basic colors, but also has bright colors for me to add accents, and it has my well-loved metallic colors. So at some point in my painting journey, I will probably be over the metallics, but today is not that day. I love some sparkle. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to put a lot of water in with the pigment because I'm making the background and I don't want it to be so opaque. I want it to be translucent and light as it dries, because that is going to be sort of the far away background. So when you want something to be appear off in the distance, just dilute it with more water and it will be light and translucent as it dries, and then you'll get that beautiful sort of foggy depth of field. So today you can see the reference photo here. I wanted to revisit our friend Jessica, the little witch mouse from one of my past paintings, and I wanted to give her a house. So I searched up pumpkin house, and this picture popped up, which I thought was like super cute, and appears to be created by AI, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I think a painted version might be just a little more aesthetically pleasing. Let's see. Let's hope. So I dropped in the yellow and the purple background of the pumpkin, and now I'm just adding. So we always talk about, when we're watercoloring or when I'm watercoloring, I always talk about layers, because really that is the chef's kiss of watercoloring. You want to start with just a basic background, and then you're going to layer in all the depth. And I like to start with the lightest color. So I'll put the yellows, or in this case of the door and the steps, the lightest color that will be in the sort of grain of the wood. And then we'll start just adding all of layers upon layers. So this has a cute little like straw roof coming between the two halves of the pumpkin, which I just think is adorable. So I'm going to use that same dark color that I used to map out the straw for the little stems of these little side pumpkins. And now I'm going to do the same thing that I was just talking about. I put the lightest background color on Jessica the mouse. And while she's drying, I am just loosely dropping in this little branch that is going to hold a lantern for her little neighborhood. So all of the trees that have all of these gorgeous leaves in the background are going to be further away, but I did want to use this close-up little branch stem situation to hold the lantern. Also, when you're painting, it always becomes aesthetically pleasing when you use the same colors. So this palette has like 10 different browns, but I always notice that when I'm painting, if I bring the same brown from like the stem that's going to hold the lantern and the thatched roof or the straw roof and bring it into the door, everything just sort of makes sense. And yeah. So now I'm just dropping in her little witch hat. Maybe you guys watched the first time that I painted Jessica. I'm going to do it a little differently this time. This time I'm going to add a little bit of blue into her coat and into her hat. But right now I'm just putting the basic black layer, and while I've got black on my brush, I decided to drop in her eyes. And we're going to put the stem. You guys will notice that I sometimes, while I'm painting and I'm trying to zoom in for you, I'll forget that I'm zoomed in and I'll be painting outside of the frame, and I apologize for that. But now I'm just sort of adding details of the door, and now I'm going to put the glow in the lantern. So I dropped the yellow in, and then I put a little orange on the outside, and then I'm with a wet brush, I picked up the orange from the middle, leaving that sort of blended glow. And now I'm just painting in the lantern. You can see from the reference photo that the idea of the branch and the lantern came from not just my mind, but from that reference photo. So now I've zoomed in my reference of the little pumpkin house, so I can try to figure out the best way to put this doorknob on. And I'm certainly not doing it just the way it is in the reference photo. It rarely happens that what we create is exactly like the reference photo. I like to think of the reference photos as more inspiration and really to show you where shadow would be. But you absolutely don't have to make things exactly. Like this little window above the door is closed or not there in the reference photo, but I decided I wanted there to be a warm glow of light coming from inside this little house. And I just added in some color for the shadow there and darkened up that green around the doorway. I'm not sure why I decided to put green there, but it's just what came to me at the time. So now I'm taking a wet brush and I'm picking up the pigment in the little spots on the side of the pumpkin so that I can make the little windows. And I'm adding the dark around the windows because there would be depth of the outside of the pumpkin. So you wouldn't just have just a flat opening. You would see the depth of like the rind of the pumpkin. So now these little stairs, I'm just adding another layer and darkening up underneath them and around. And I'm picking up the pigment where I made it really dark because I feel like light would sort of pour in the sides of those stairs. Now, there's the reference photo of Jessica. I named her Jessica. She's not, it's not, you don't have to, if you're painting with me, you certainly don't have to name her Jessica. but I just thought it's a cute name for her. So we're just trying to work on the face of Jessica here. And when I painted her the first time, she came out looking a little bit more like a hamster than a mouse. And this time I'm going to try to make her look a little bit more like a mouse. And as you can see, I'm struggling a little bit with the mouth. I'm like, what? So there's a lot of use wet brush to pick up what I did and try again, pick it up, try again, pick it up. The first time I painted Jessica, I felt like it just sort of happened and worked. And this time I'm really renegotiating all the different aspects of her quite a lot. She took a little bit more time this time, I think, but she's cute. And I'm going to have her holding an acorn again. I think in the photo she's holding a pumpkin, but I feel like there's a lot of pumpkins, so I'm going to have her hold an acorn like she did in the last time I painted her. And I'm just sort of trying to create the shadow underneath her chin to thin out her face so she doesn't have that hamster look like she did last time, giving her a little bit of depth. So if you just take whatever color you chose for her, the base of whatever animal or object that you're painting, when you're going to create the shadows, you can either take a darker version or a more pigmented, less water version of that same color. Or you can use a watered down complement color. So like if you're painting something green, you can use red as a complement color to layer over to darken and create those shadows. So now you're about to brace yourself. You're about to watch me fumble. I mean, I am just trying with this pumpkin house. I was like, oh, maybe like a brownish orange is going to make the base look, like give it that shadow, but then I didn't like it, so I was picking it up. And I don't subscribe to the thought or the idea that with watercolor you can't change things, because you absolutely can. It's not as easy as like with oil paint, you can just pick it up. But with watercolor, you can certainly change things. You just get your brush wet and you just pick up that. I mean, you've got to sort of do it before it dries. But you can absolutely change things, because you're going to see, I am just going over this and changing it. I feel like, some days when you're painting, if you can just zone out and forget the things of of the world and just sort of get into painting, it becomes sort of therapeutic. And today was one of those days. I was just in my own little world, and going over these back and forth and adding shadow and, oh, do I like this or do I like that? Yeah, it's this pumpkin house was sort of a labor of love. So I'm just darkening in the lantern. I'm giving a little window pane to the window above the door in the house. And then I decided to go with black. And I rarely use black for shadows, like straight, not shadows, that was the wrong word. I rarely use black to darken a color. I will use either less water or I'll use the complement color to mix in. But in this case, I really wanted that kind of stark contrast between the orange and the windowsill, I guess. So I decided to use black. And the little straw area was another thing that I was just like, I'm not sure how to do this. So I kept trying something different. I would add water and sort of try to blend out my strokes or add color. So now I'm deciding, I'm not doing it like anything of the reference photo. I'm just sort of going out on my own, and I decided that I wanted this hill that the pumpkin was on to have this cool green. I love this green out of the palette. It's kind of like an olive green, and it's just really cool. So now I'm feeling like purple is kind of eerie and what's the word? Mysterious, and I'm wanting the base of this forest to really have depth, like you can see like deep down into the forest. So I added that metallic purple, and I used the metallic purple in the ground the last time I painted Jessica the mouse. And so I wanted to make sure I still used that purple because I just love it. Just love, love. So now I'm adding shadow because, and I just decided to put these little like sticks sort of to make the stairs, to hold up the stairs. So here I go. I'm going back into this pumpkin because I'm not satisfied. And I'm like, oh, I'll put dark here. And then I'm like, nope, that's too dark. Sometimes you're like, I wish I had just left it with the original, but like I said, I was really in my own little world. So I just kept filling those sort of the creases of the pumpkin in, and then blending them out and picking it up and adding yellow, and my goodness, so funny. So my little lantern post dried, so I decided to darken it up a little bit. And now I'm not really looking at a specific reference photo for this. I'm just making branches that are just coming out all over the place. And I did some in black, and I did some in like sort of a dark brown because I am wanting depth. I'm wanting some to look farther away and some to be close. That's why I made some of the leaves bigger and more detailed, and then some of the leaves are back behind. And fall leaves, you guys, if you are trying to paint fall leaves, it is so fun to just grab reds and yellows and oranges and browns. And the thing is, sometimes with watercolor, people don't think you can load your brush with two colors, but you absolutely can. For quite a few of these, I had my brush filled with orange, and then I just dipped the tip in the red, and it just really gave this super beautiful, just a super beautiful array of different leaves. So now we're going to go into the little accent pumpkins and make sure that they've got the little dark creases so that you can maybe they feel bulbous like the other pumpkin. And now I'm just adding really light little branches here and there as if they are far off in the distance. So it's just a really pale It's really pale. Oh, and look, I am messing with this pumpkin house again. Adding in some shadows, layer upon layer upon layers. And I'm just adding little black to the stems here and there. And I'm going to add the far off in the distance tree trunks. And I'm just doing that with very diluted black and just dropping in a really light sort of suggestion of trees in the background. And darkening up the shadows, because if you guys have watched me paint before, you know that I just think that shadows are what makes something really have depth and come alive. So now I'm just dropping in some more color into the ground, on all around. And all of this is just me. There's no reference photo. I'm just sort of trying to give Jessica her little house. And then I'm darkening up her little outfit. Now, I just put this black stripe of paint on the roof right there, and I just went, but it was on there, and black is really hard to pick up. So I just sort of blended it out, and you know, it is what it is at this point. Yeah. All right. So now we're going to take off the tape, which is like my very favorite. I love seeing that clean straight line of the tape. It really is satisfying, and look at that sharp edge. Forget about it. So we've created another little mouse witch, and she's got her little house. There she is. And you can see as I turn the painting, you can see that metallic, how the painting is shiny. And I just love it. I can't get over that. If you want to create that metallic, you've got to try this palette. There she is. Thanks for joining me.